What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Nick, and today I'm going to be talking about a comic book that came out about a month ago, I think, and it has caused quite a bit of controversy in the comic book community, and that is Steve Rogers' Captain America #1. So you look at this badass right here. So, if you've been following comic books, you probably have heard that Steve Rogers is back. If you've been following Marvel as well, he is back after a few years of being old and like depowered. Steve Rogers is back as Captain America. He's young, healthy, and fit once again, back in fighting shape, ready to go kick some ass. But there's a bit of a twist to that at the very end of the first issue. In a moment, in a panel that will live in comic book infamy, Steve Rogers, aboard a getaway plane from Baron Zemo, walks up to Dr. Eric Selvig and says, "Hail Hydra." Wow, what about that, huh? Captain America, the defender of truth and justice and the American way, is now on the side of a secret evil Nazi society who has been pulling the strings and behind almost every evil attack in the past almost 100 years. What? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So, what does this mean? Well, obviously, the readers have lost their collective minds about this, and especially people who don't really like read the comics but just keep up with the news about comics, you know. I feel like this is a well-timed issue, and now like common readers have like a heightened interest in Steve Rogers because, you know, the most recent Captain America movie came out like a month ago, and I guess it's still in theaters somewhere or in some places, so like it's still like available and it's still relevant. So obviously people are like, "Oh, Steve Rogers, I love Steve Rogers. I just saw the most recent Captain America movie. So good, man. Oh, look at what they're doing to Steve Rogers. Oh, man." So people are freaking out about this. Like, they're like, "Oh, you ruined my childhood, Marvel." I saw a video of a guy who took this comic, like, sprayed gasoline on it and lit it on fire, and like, "I'm never buying another Marvel comic again." Well, the thing is, he probably like just bought that to make that video. Because I think if you're like actually a comic book fan and you actually like know like what happens in comic books, you wouldn't freak out about this, because this stuff is like just run-of-the-mill old hat kind of stuff. This happens all the time. Maybe not like to this extreme, but like characters being flip-flopped and all this stuff happens all the time. Although I guess I can see why you'd kind of freak out, because Captain America, you know, he's like the ultimate American citizen. He's the ultimate just great guy. You know, you look up to him. He's the hero. But then, so to see him like change allegiances like that would be pretty surprising. Now, I have my theories about what happened. I have Captain America Steve Rogers #2, but I have not read it because I wanted to make this video first, and I want to talk about what I think is going to happen. I think so Steve Rogers became like good again. He was repowered and de-aged after the Pleasant Hill crossover, which saw S.H.I.E.L.D. using the powers of a cosmic cube, which gained sentience, and named itself Kobik, and now it was all powerful. So I think it went back in time and messed with Steve Rogers' backstory, making him now an agent of Hydra. So this is nothing to freak out about, because eventually it will all go back to normal. And that's the kind of thing with all comic books, you know, like eventually everything goes back to normal, everything goes back to the definitive version of the character, unless a certain character turns out to be drastically more popular than like the original character. You know, like if Barry Allen was only as popular as Jay Garrick, maybe Jay Garrick would still be the main Flash. Or like Wally West, like same thing. I think that's the best example of something that's happened like that. There hasn't really been something that kind of like drastic of a change that's like been permanent, you know? Like Sam Wilson is Captain America right now, and Jane Foster is Thor. But maybe in a couple years, maybe the Marvel comic sales, like, they just dip a little bit, you know? Maybe they aren't as good as Marvel wants them to be. So they say, how are we going to make more money? Well, we just have to bring back our original characters in their original forms. So they'll reboot the universe, they'll restart it, they'll bring everyone back. They'll bring everyone back as they were. They're young, they're powerful, and they're new, and they're like ready to kick evil ass, you know? They're ready to go fight some bad guys and save the day as the original Avengers that they once were. So that's kind of how it goes. Unfortunately, you know, with comic books that go on for years and years and years and years, there's not really there's not really like a continuous story for like the entire time, you know? Every writers come along and new stories come along and everything changes, but eventually it all goes back to the way it was. So, main moral of this video is that this change to evil Captain America, this is not permanent, so don't get your panties in a twist here. Captain America will go back to the way he was eventually. Maybe not now, and I don't think, I like that they're keeping these changes like for a long time. I like this Sam Wilson. I like this Jane Foster. I think this is cool. I think this is interesting, and I wouldn't mind if they kept this for a long time, but eventually it will go back. So for all of you who are freaking out about this, it's okay. It'll be back to normal eventually. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Peace.